Hi, everyone. It's Diane Dobry from Discovery Days, and it is National Hedgehog Day. And we have with us my special guest, Jo Auckland, coming from where in England?
I'm in a little village called Ashwell, which is about 12 miles away from Cambridge in England.
Okay. And she is my hedgehog go-to expert. And I'm just going to let her lead the discussion because I know nothing about hedgehogs. So tell us what you can tell us about hedgehogs and why we should celebrate National Hedgehog Day.
Well, the amusing thing is that I was telling my husband Jack about, I'm going to talk to Diane about hedgehogs. And he kind of looked at me. My husband's American, by the way, all you folks that are listening. So we looked up hedgehogs in America, and they are the fastest growing pet in America.
Really?
And yet, if you read about it, they're actually illegal in America because they're afraid of them getting out into the wild and causing, I don't know, chaos. I don't know how they'd cause chaos, but it's supposed to be about spreading diseases to indigenous animals. So that makes sense. But we own a little cottage in England, and it's 700 years old. We bought it as a holiday home, but we're living here more and more and more. I was reading an article about hedgehogs, and I was a little horrified to find that the hedgehog population in the UK has dropped 95% since 1970. So I did a little bit of research, and there's a myriad of reasons: pesticides, enlargements of agricultural fields, people being enclosing their gardens so the hedgehogs can't get through and they're using the roads and they get run over, all sorts of reasons. And also in the UK, we have stopped badger culling. Now, we used to have a season where you could cull badgers because badgers were supposed to be carriers of TB, and they infected cattle, which meant then the cattle had to be killed and great culling of the cattle. And so then it was decided they don't carry TB, so we no longer cull badgers. So we have an excess of badgers in this country. And who do badgers have for their supper? That would be hedgehogs. So as another reason why poor hedgehogs are declining in this country. They are nocturnal animals. How anybody could have them as a pet, I don't know, because they're like a baby porcupine. I mean, they are very prickly. This isn't a real one, by the way. They not only come out at night, they're nocturnal, but they hibernate, which was a perfect thing for me because normally we're gone from England in the winter. We live in California in the winter, and we live in England in the summer. So I thought, well, what can I do to help the hedgehogs? So I got in touch with the local hedgehog hospital. We have one, and asked them, what can I do to help? And she said to me, would you like to be a release site? And I said, well, yes, if you tell me what it is. And she said, well, you have the hedgehog in your garden in a cage and a little hoggy tat, that's its little bed, and acclimate it until it gets used to the rain and the wind and the sound of the bells of the church and the cars going by and all the other things, the sort of environmental noises. And then after a couple of weeks or so, you just let them go, and they will populate your area. So I said, oh, okay, I can do that. She said, oh, super. Well, we're going to send a hedgehog inspector. I'm sorry, I'm on the phone shaking my head. Nowhere other than England would you have a hedgehog inspector, would you? Seriously?
Really?
Anyway, I know. The hedgehog inspector came out and we had to cut hedgehog highways in our fences, which is fine. Hedgehog highway in the gate. It's just a little square hole 5 by 5. It's just a hole, but it's a hedgehog highway, right? We have signs above ours.
Like then, slow moving vehicle, slow moving hedgehog.
And then we had to make sure that anywhere we had steps, there had to be a ramp So poor Jack, his project was building ramps. So we have ramps all over the place. And then we have a wildlife pond. And we had to make sure that they're good swimmers, hedgehogs, but we had to make sure that the hogs could get out if they fell in. So we have a little set of wire mesh steps that come out of the pond as well. So now we're all set up. First hedgehog comes. I'm all excited. I post it on our local village website. Well, I'm not sure whether that was a good thing or not, because now I'm the hedgehog lady. I'll often get knock, knock, knock on the door, a little boy standing there with a box. Jo, we found a hedgehog. Could you look after it? So I do get a lot of hedgehogs during the season. And we try and name them all. So people in the village give them funny names. So a friend found one in their inspection pit in their garage. They have a pit in the garage so you can get underneath the car. And the hedgehog had fallen into the hedgehog pit. So we called it Brad. Do you get that?
Brad Pitt.
So we also have this one, which a little friend's daughter made me. It's made out of a book. Look how clever that is.
Like
But if
cute.
you don't, it's got different eyes. That's because she and I like to involve the children in the village. She and I were looking after a hedgehog that had been run over by a bike in Cambridge and it had lost an eye. Well, they can survive with one eye. So we call it Nelson because Lord Nelson lost his eye in the Battle of Trafalgar.
And she knew that. She knew.
And she knew that. I try and name the hedgehogs after the children that bring them. So Alice brought one, but then when I checked, it was a little boy. So we called it Alice there. Little guy on a farm found one stuck in a tractor, and the name of the manufacturer of the tractor was Massey Ferguson, so we called this one Ferguson. There was one caught in the cricket nets up at the recreation ground, so we called her Nettie. So we had a lot of fun in the village, you know. It's a case of, oh, Joe's got another hedgehog, what shall we call it? So it's kind of fun. But they're interesting critters. They really are. They are, they're very lone critters. They only meet up with another hedgehog if they need to breed or want to breed. They cry if they're distressed. They actually cry tears, which is rough. I know. They howl, and they howl, and they also grunt like a pig. Their poo smells dreadful, but that might.
Do you have to feed them?
Of course, when I'm looking after them for 2 weeks, of course.
What do you feed them?
I feed them cat food, dry cat food, not fish. No milk because they're lactose intolerant, so lots of water. But also for a special treat, I give them mealworms, which are what we feed the birds. But you can't give them too many because the mealworms cause them not to be able to absorb calcium. And of course, with all those spikes, they need calcium. They travel about 3.5 miles a night, which is amazing.
And did they do that from your little nest that you made them? They traveled and then they came back?
Once I've let them out of the cage, we remove the cage, but they do come back every night because I put food out. So sometimes we'll have 3 and 4 little visitors, and we have guests for supper, and we'll sit out the back at the picnic table, and then all of a sudden the hedgehogs start coming at dusk. So I have food around and the hedgehogs, so we'll be sitting having dinner and they take no notice of us. They'll walk in, they'll walk over your feet, get out the way, I want my food. It's so amazing.
Now, do the guests get really like freaked out because I had a hedgehog on my foot?
But where's my camera?
Oh, they want to take a picture.
Absolutely. And sometimes Jack and I just sit out the back quietly and we just watch them. The most we've had in the garden at any one time is 4. And that's pretty good That's pretty good. We don't know how many visit. We have one of those critter cams that comes. We put it out at night, and it's got infrared on it, so it turns on, and you can see them sort of nudging each other. Get out the way. This is my food. So they can be a little aggressive, but
So
they're very.
when you go back to the US in the winter, do they come looking for food and then they don't
Well,
find?
because it's they hibernate in the winter,
Oh,
so
okay.
that it's so perfect. You know, they hibernate from about November until probably March,
So
and they
now
hibernate.
you're still there though. You're still in the UK or in England. I don't know all the right words. Britain, England.
Whatever. Uh, when I haven't seen a hedgehog in 5 days, we buy an airline ticket. Not that
Oh,
I was or anything, but to be perfectly honest, we all through COVID we stayed here because the doctor in the US said, "Get the hell out of Dodge. It will be safer in England."
oh
So,
wow.
so
I'm
we
coming over.
yeah, I tell you, 98% of the population are vaccinated. So it's a lot safer here.
Hmm.
But one of the issues of putting the hedgehogs on the local website is that people see something with hedgehogs on it and they buy it for me. I have 18 hedgehog mugs. I have hedgehog slippers. I have a hedgehog door prop. I have little hedgehogs, you name it. I've got a hedgehog that looks like it. I have hedgehogs everywhere. I'm not that, well, I suppose I am a bit obsessed, but some lady knocked on my door about 6 months ago, and she said, "Hello, Jo." I've never seen her before in my life. And I said, "Hello." She said, "I'm Judy. And during lockdown, I learned how to make carpets." I said, "Oh, good for you." She said, "So I thought I'd make you one with a hedgehog on it." So now I have a hedgehog carpet.
You're
I
you're gonna be even US famous now. You're famous in your town. You're gonna be famous all over.
but it's very amusing. I have a friend who went to Durham University, and she sent me a clipping out of her alumni magazine, and it said that Durham University got an award for having a hedgehog friendly campus. Right. So she and I have now started writing to the dean to see if we can get an honorary degree for the hedgehog.
Doctor of Hedgehog. Um,
Hedgehog.
Dr. Joe, the hedgehog expert. I bet the news is gonna be talking to you. Now we had that the groundhog
Oh yeah,
February 2nd, which is what today? Today's February 2nd.
and
So is a hedgehog kind of like the groundhog or no?
no, I don't think so. I tried the Groundhog Day on a few Brits today, and it kind of went over their head,
They
you
have
know.
no idea.
Idea, no. And I was surprised that you had a National Hedgehog Day in the States, as they're an illegal animal. So all you people out there with hedgehogs, keep it up.
Yeah. And well, anything else you want to tell us? Otherwise,
Look,
show us your little.
I told you about their habitat. I told you what fun they are. Just a few things that can go wrong with them. Easy to spot, just in case people decide to have one as a pet. They suffer quite badly from ear mites.
Oh.
And I know it's odd, isn't it? So if you see the hedgehog walking in circles, it has an ear mite. You have to take it to the vet, otherwise it will die.
Oh.
And if your hedgehog, it's common here to think hedgehogs have lots of fleas. They don't. They're only poorly hedgehogs have fleas. Many, many years ago, the hedgehog was a delicacy for gypsy families. So
Oh.
they would get the hedgehog and they would roll it in mud. Hopefully it's dead. They'd wrap it in mud and then put it in the fire and roast it and then pull the mud off, and all the spines come off with it, and you eat it like a chicken.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
I'm not going to be doing that, by the way.
No, hedgehogs are your friends, not your dinner.
They are my friends. In fact, there's a little sign hanging up over there that a friend made for me, and it says, "Joe and Jack's Hedgehog Hotel."
Yes, that's right, the Hedgehog Hotel. Oh my gosh, you're gonna be you're already a celebrity, but you're gonna be known for that, you know.
The Hedgehog
Well,
Lady.
I really appreciate you. I know you have a meeting to go to and I have a meeting to go to, but thank you so much for taking the time from England to tell us all about your hedgehog stuff. And if anybody has any questions, they can put a comment below, and I'm gonna put this on the website, on my YouTube channel, on my Facebook page. So I'll let you know, and you can share it with whoever you think.
I'll make it up.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.